Good evening, this is the Gothic Bohemian Salon. Welcome, I'm Julifer. So tonight I have a couple of reviews of two things, two things that are available online to watch. The first is the new Dracula television series, which you can watch on Hulu for free. And the second is a film called Velvet Goldmine, which is available on Netflix. So, without further ado, let's go into the reviews. And let's start with the television. I wanted to talk to you about the new Dracula television series airing on NBC on... I should know what night it's on, shouldn't I? I think it's Thursday or Friday nights. Anyway, I caught the episodes on Hulu for free and watched from 1 to 6 in one evening. So kind of had a big saturation of the whole thing in one night. And after I was done, I decided to watch a really great movie called Velvet Goldmine, which is available on Netflix, which is a great film that I also wanted to talk about. But first, Dracula. So Dracula is in England, and he is disguised as an American industrialist named Grayson. And I am unhappy about Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, who plays Dracula, with an American accent. I don't want to hear Jonathan Rhys-Meyers with an American accent. I want to hear his beautiful, lovely voice, which is not American at all. I believe he's Welsh. I don't know if I've ever heard his real voice, frankly, but I would have preferred something more on the English side. That would have been nice. Jonathan Rhys-Meyers is one of my favorite actors. I first saw him, I think, in Gormenghast, and then bits and pieces of Velvet Goldmine, and what's it called? Bend It Like Beckham, he's also in, and several other films. I can't remember the titles of off the top of my head, but I've been aware of him for a while, and he's been one of my favorites. The Magnificent Ambersons, which was actually pretty terrible, but he was good. Anyway, well, Dracula, you know, a favorite of all of us, obviously, a classic. They have completely turned the whole thing upside down. At least Lucy Westenra and Mina Harker, or Mina Murray, are still the same. They didn't switch the names like they have done a couple times in films. So that's good. But everybody else is completely topsy-turvy. Renfield is not a lunatic in an asylum or a land agent. He's a lawyer and completely sane, which is sort of disappointing. Van Helsing is somehow on Dracula's side, which is really odd. And the League of Vampire Hunters is called, well, no, actually, it's a league of businessmen, and it's sort of like a secret society called the Order of the Dragon. That was Dracula's order, actually, so it's kind of weird to have the Order of the Dragon be Dracula's nemesis, because that doesn't make any sense, because he was the dragon, he's the son of the dragon. That's what Dracula means, is son of the dragon. So that's kind of weird. The actors are all great, except I'm not so taken with the young lady who plays Mina Murray. Mina should be somebody that you want to fall in love with. And I'd far much prefer the young lady who plays Lucy, actually, for that role. I think she might have done better. And can we talk about the costumes, which are atrocious? I mean, ill-fitting, inaccurate, bizarre. I mean, there's a ballroom scene in, I think, the first episode, and Lucy Westenra's always in red, which is probably fitting, but a little obvious. But they put her in this ball gown. Now, you knew that I was going to talk about the costumes a lot, right? They put her in this red ball gown, a sleeveless, kind of bustier number. In fact, a lot of the women were in these kind of bustier outfits. Mina Murray's always in blue, which I find kind of just wrong somehow. I think it might have been better to put Mina in red, or at least some dark jewel tones or something. But anyway, there's something in Lucy Westenra's head, like an ornament on her head. Looks like a cake decoration or something. It looks like a plastic doily with a little mini red top hat stuck to it, with a very bad single ostrich plume sticking straight up out of it. It's a terrible, terrible hair decoration. Now, her actual hair's nice. The styling of her hair was lovely, and seems to be consistently in the series. But the things they stick in her hair are just absurd. I mean, really, really absurd. And I guess this is supposed to take place in like the 1890s or something, but just strange, just really, really strange stuff. The men's clothes seem to be okay. I'm not a huge expert on men's clothes from that period, so I can't really tell you. One thing I did notice was that the watch that Grayson uses at one point has Aramaic or Arabic numerals on it. The normal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of numerals, and I believe that watches really were Roman numerals up until like the 20s. I don't think they really used Arabic numerals very often until the 20s. So that was kind of unsettling. Just one of those little quirky things, that nerds notice. Costume nerds notice. I could be wrong about that, actually, so don't take my word for it, but I think if you're setting something in that time period, you probably want to stick to Roman numerals on a pocket watch anyway. I don't know. It just seems like a better choice somehow. Maybe they were trying to show that he was a more modernized version of himself or something. Yeah, I didn't dislike it. I guess, I don't know. I enjoyed it to a point. So I did want to talk about the film Velvet Goldmine a little bit. It's absolutely fantastic, really worth watching. It's the story of Iggy Pop and David Bowie, thinly disguised David Bowie and Iggy Pop, with Jonathan Rhys-Meyers as the David Bowie character. I'm trying to remember the first name. Slade. His last name is Slade. Anyway, and then the Iggy Pop character's name is Kurt Wilde. Anyway, it's about the glitter rock phenomenon that David Bowie was a part of, and it's just a wonderful look back at this time period. The costume designer was Sandy Powell, who did Orlando and Braveheart as some of the movies that she's costumed before. and the costumes are really great. They're, I think, better than what people actually wore in the 70s or late 60s, early 70s that this film is documenting. But they're great anyway. A lot of people don't really realize that the roots of the whole Gothic subculture can be traced back into the 60s and the 70s. They don't realize that there were people who looked very Gothic back in those periods, and you know, just the influence that music had on later music, and you know, stuff like that. I mean, you gotta think about the Velvet Underground, which was around in the late 60s, and the Doors, and then the whole glitter thing. You know, there was just, I don't know, a lot of gender bending, a lot of bisexuality, and it was actually very fashionable to be bisexual at the time. But Velvet Goldmine is a great film, so I do highly recommend it. That's my reviews for tonight, and I hope you've enjoyed them. So thank you so much for joining me in the Gothic Bohemian Salon, and remember, embrace the darkness. Good night.